Bristol Eastern kid. That's
you know, we've been hearing all year going into this. We've been to a couple of their games. Everyone's been saying that, you know, this is the best O-line they've had in years. That, you know, this is potentially, you know, the best Guilford team there's ever been. So for us, you know, that meant that, you know, like, it was just out of the question that we were losing this game. You know, like, we had no doubt in our mind. You know, that was just more and more, like, motivation. It just fed the fire. You know, like, our boys were pumped up. We were pumped up all year. We were ready for this game. It was circled on us, for sure.
Coach, we put in this all week. Coach said all day I was gonna make a big play, you know. I know we needed it. I know I wanted it, you know. It was our last game, you know. And I put it all on the line. I went out there, I see the ball get tipped. I know I have to go get it, you know. And I caught it and I scored. It was like a movie, man. I wanted to end my season with a bang, you know. I'm a senior. You know, I want to win a chip this year. You go, man.
We expected this. We knew, like, we weren't going to come in cocky at all. They were talking smack the last 2 weeks. We hear it around the town. They thought this was their year, like every other year. We showed them it's not. We don't really know who we play. We think we're battle-tested enough, but we got to go out and prove that every week because we haven't seen any of these teams in Class S, especially since we got moved down, so we have no idea what we're about to play.
2 years we lost to this team back-to-back. I couldn't take it anymore. I wanted this one so bad. For the past month, I've been just dreaming of this night. This morning, I've been dreaming I wanted this game so bad. Just not even for me, just for the community, everything. This game meant a lot to me.
There hasn't been too many teams in New Canaan history that says they've gone undefeated, you know, during the regular season. So for this group to do it, it's special.
We don't know who we play yet, but whoever we play, I mean, we'll prepare, watch film, and see what happens. If it's them, then we just played them, so we got film again, and we got some practice and stuff like that. So
I don't care as long as we're playing. I don't care who we play.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Meat Grinder, your weekly dose of high school football in Connecticut. And I'm your host, Sean Patrick, and with me in his undisclosed bunker somewhere in southwest Connecticut is Peter Paguaga. Peter, how are you?
good. I love your intros. It's just so great because you can't watch everything that we do. There's just so much content that we produce. So it's like nice when it's in like one little wrapped up spot. Not all of it, but like what you pick out. But I gotta nitpick one thing, and it's not a you thing. It's whoever that kid was from Hand. Best Guilford team ever. It was a foregone conclusion we were gonna lose.
No, he said. I don't remember. He all he was saying, because I had said that they it was probably one of the better. I don't know about the best, but I said it's the best Guilford team I'd seen.
Yeah,
so we had talked about it. So they were like, all year long we'd heard that because their offensive line was very good, their defense Guilford was very good, and they were like, all year long we heard about it, and the fact that I was at that game, maybe even was like maybe they had a shot. So I think that's where he was coming from. Okay. So we were not going to lose this game, is what he's saying.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, because 14 of the 14 people picked Hand, unless Becker printed it out and replaced all the Hand logos with the Guilford logo.
No. The point was, this might be the greatest Guilford team ever, but we're still Hand. I think that's
there's still Goliath.
But it was
okay. I didn't want to know if I got that mixed up because I was like, what? Okay.
Nah, we'll get to that stuff. Anyway, the regular season's over. Thanksgiving week is over. Lots of crazy games, lots of insane stuff, points, and missing half my Thanksgiving dinner just to sit there trying to figure out points. It was a crazy week, but I absolutely love it, adore it. It was granted, my 2 Thanksgiving week games were terrible, but I get to see some great teams like Hand and New Canaan kind of put a bow on their great seasons, especially New Canaan going 10-0. But we are now here. Playoffs has arrived, and we're going to break down all the state playoffs news for you. We have 6 divisions, 8 teams each, and right off the bat, we're going to say that best laid plans. We got a storm coming through on Tuesday, apparently, and unlike last year, this one's probably going to cancel school, and because of that, they're going to have to preemptively postpone the games to Wednesday, which stinks because now the semifinals, instead of being on Sunday, they now have to be played Monday night. So right off the bat, that's kind of stinks.
I mean, look, you have 24 games being played. You have 48 schools across the state playing.
Actually,
One of those schools.
Show the playoff grab. Here are the teams that are qualified. Keep going, Pete.
Yeah, but like one of these schools cancel school tomorrow, and the game is canceled, and therefore everyone can't be on the same schedule. It's the right move. I'm sorry, people are going to complain and they're going to whine because everyone just likes to complain about something. Like, we're finally here, the playoffs are here, and we're still finding reasons to complain. Yeah. But like, look, let's play when the weather is at its best, when all 48 teams can play. That's the big thing. Whether it's not going to be snowing in Fairfield County, it's just going to be rain, and it's going to be 3 inches up in, Windsor. Like, you want everyone to be on equal footing at this point. You don't want anyone to point a finger and say, well, they had more days off, or they had more rest, or they had this, right? Like, you just want it to be, you don't want to give anyone a reason to point a finger. Look, there's a lot of things that the CIAC does, has done, continues to do that I point fingers at and I disagree with, and I talk about it on this show, or I talk about it publicly. I'm not afraid of that. This is not one of those things. They made the right decision here, so everyone can just stop crying about it. Because I'm seeing posts online of schools and town pages on like Facebook or Twitter, and they're like, the game's postponed to Wednesday. This was not our decision. And it's like, so you're just pointing you just want everyone to just get mad at the CIAC for the sake of getting mad at the CIAC? There's enough things to get mad at them about. This is not one of them.
Yeah, look, we have a short window. We have a very short one. You can quibble with that. That's a big factor too.
Yeah,
playing 3 games in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's obviously a thing that is going to happen every time we do this. So, the other argument though for it would be like, well, we don't even know what's going to happen next week, and which is absolutely the case. But we absolutely, the other thing is that we have to deal with this particular day. And yeah, the forecast gets better. We're probably going to get a lot of rain down in the southern part where a lot of the games are being played. But again, as you just said, there are going to be enough teams up north. Now, I know last year it was snowing at a lot of those games up north, and it was raining down here. But the difference is that you're not traveling in it, right? Yeah. They weren't traveling in snow. That's the real problem. The travel is the problem. Getting home, like that storm came out of nowhere last year. It just hit, and it was just a lot of snow all of a sudden. And then, but all right, we made it out all right. There are a few crazy games, but this time it's a little different. It's a little preemptive because they know it's going to start in the morning and it's going to last all day. And at this point, you're going to get the schools they're going to cancel or whatever they're going to do. You just might as well just be like, pull the plug.
Yep. No, it's the right move. And look, this.
I get it.
It stinks. Everything's a day later except for the championships. The championships remain on Saturday. There's no Friday, but it's not like the championships have been pushed back yet. Potentially, But again, we were talking on the phone earlier today. That 2013 Prep Southington played what, 3 days before Christmas?
Yeah, no, it was like 5-6 days before Christmas.
Yeah, it was crazy.
20. It was like the 20, whatever, 19th.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was nuts.
And that was the champions there. But here are the quarter. As of now, here's where we sit. The quarterfinals are now Wednesday, December 3rd, at the sites of the higher seeds. Semifinals are now Monday, the 8th. The championships now. It was going to be Friday, Saturday. Now it's Saturday, the 13th at a Root and Rentschler Field. Just quickly looking at the league breakdown right now. The FCIAC got 9 teams into the playoffs, followed by the CCC But if you want to go pound for pound, the FCIAC percentage-wise of the league, that's half of the league almost. That is half the league, or maybe more than half for the FCIAC. The CCC got 8, SEC got 6, SWC 4, ECC got 6, NVL got 6, and it went for NVL got 6, Pequot 5, and CTC 2, and then of course the independent Nottawa, the Alliance team.
That's 50% of the independent teams.
Yeah, that's right. But that's the breakdown now, and we're going to talk about all this stuff, how we got there and everything. But there are a bunch of rematches in this surprise, bunch of rematches from regular season games. The one that kills me absolutely are the 2 ones that are Thanksgiving Day games that get posed. You win your Thanksgiving, you got to play the same team again, which is great for the winning team, especially if you're New Canaan. But maybe not so much for Greenwich. Maybe Staples got something in their bag of tricks. Who knows?
Hey, last year we saw Newington, Wethersfield beat Newington on Thanksgiving. Newington beat them 4 days later. And then we had Greenwich Staples rematch in the semifinals. Staples beat them on Thanksgiving. Greenwich beat them in the semifinals. West Haven and Fairfield Prep played the day before Thanksgiving last year. Fairfield Prep pounded them. And then in the semifinals, West Haven beat them up by 35. So I don't know if it benefits the winning team.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We certainly see. I think I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I hate it, but I can deal with the semis. But the quarterfinals, it's whatever. I don't want to. We were going to go off all day on that kind of stuff. So, we have that. You have the Southington Glastonbury rematch from earlier in the season. Newington Middletown is a rematch. You're going to get some of these, unfortunately, and then of course Ansonia Seymour are some of the big rematches. But based on all the results, let's take a look at the top 10 poll going into the postseason, and then we'll get right into the how we got here, the brackets, and everything we got, and picks. And away we go. So here's a top 10 poll heading into the postseason.
The regular season is over, and in less than 2 weeks, we will have 6 state champions and 1 team atop the GametimeCT football media poll. But before we jump too far ahead, here is the GametimeCT football poll as we head into the state playoffs. We will not have another poll until after the championships have concluded. Coming in at number 10 is Southington. The 7-3 Blue Knights take a 5-game win streak into the Class LL playoffs and face Glastonbury in the first round. At number 9 is Windsor. The 9-1 Warriors were off last week and will play the Plainfield Quinnebog Co-op in the first round of the Class MM playoffs. At number 8 is New Britain. The 8-1 Hurricanes have been off for some time, but will finally take the field against NFA in the first round of the Class LL tournament. At number 7 is Fairfield Prep. The 8-2 Jesuits took care of Xavier last week and will face off against Danbury in the first round of the Class LL playoffs. At number 6 is Greenwich. The 8-2 Cardinals took care of Staples on Thanksgiving and are rewarded with another matchup against the Wreckers in the first round of the Class LL playoffs. Coming in at number 5 is Wilton. A week of rest is behind the 9-1 Warriors, who will play Torrington in the first round of the Class MM playoffs. At number 4 is St. Joseph. The 8-2 Hogs shut out Trumbull on Thanksgiving and take a 6-game win streak into the Class M playoffs, where they were open against Waterbury Career Academy. At number 3 is Hand. The 9-1 Tigers defeated Guilford and now play Waterford in the first round of the Class SS playoffs. At number 2 is Killingly. The 10-0 Trailblazers have scored 60 or more points in 4 straight games and will face Ellington in the first round of the Class SS playoffs. And the number 1 team in the latest GametimeCT football media poll as we head into the state playoff is New Canaan. The 10-0 Rams have been number 1 since the start of the season and are the reigning 3-time defending champs in Class L. They look to defend their title again and open against Darien in the Class L first round.
There you go. There's the GametimeCT top 10 rolling Southington, which is just dominated ever since they got their act together mid-season especially with their sophomore running back. Now breaks into the top 10. I never saw that coming. If you would ask me if they bring to the top 10, I'd be like, no way. No way.
No, I mean, you look at their schedule, and I was looking at this earlier. Like, they have 3 good losses, right? Losses are losses, but they lost to they lost to Glastonbury, they lost to St. Joe's, both close games. St. Joe's game was 34-33. Am I wrong about that? It was close.
Yeah, it was 30. Yeah, it was a close game.
It was
tight.
Southington was leading most of it. 30-24. St. Joe's, and they lost to New Britain. but their wins, other than of late, not super impressive. Obviously, the Windsor win was huge, and the Cheshire win was really good. But they took Maloney to overtime, or Maloney took them to overtime. But that Windsor win and the Cheshire dominant win really
The
woke up a
Windsor
lot of
one
voters.
really set them up. Really
Yeah, but I just have a hard problem with them being 7-3 and Newtown being out at 8-2. But
Yeah. Well, they beat Windsor. Newtown didn't. So
that's fair, but they
Is
also
Windsor-
lost 3 games. So,
yeah, I mean,
Southington's really good. I don't think there's anyone
team.
in
Different
Double L. I don't think there's anyone in Double L playing better right now than Southington.
No. I mean, you can argue New Britain.
But New Britain hasn't played in 18 days. They've been off. But Southington's been, in the time that I think New Britain's been off, I think Southington is 3-0. New Britain played their last game on the 14th of November. So Southington won that day and they beat Cheshire. So they're 2-0 since. But I'm just saying, I don't think there's anyone playing better right now in Double L than Southington.
Let's take a look. Well, we're going to go through the brackets now. So let's go through all this stuff. We're going to start off, we're going to talk about some of the key games that happened Thanksgiving week, and then we're going to get
quickly, before people in the comments start asking about specific games and stuff, or specific, we're going to go in order. We're going to start in Double L, and we're going to work our way down. So if you jump in and we're in class Double M, well, we already did Double L and L. Okay? And if we're in Double M, don't ask about S yet. Or if you ask where S is, assume that it comes after.
Yeah.
All right. Because there's too many times where we're doing this, and in the comments, people are screaming, what about this team? What about this team? And it's like, we already did that. Go back. Or we're not there yet. Just wait.
Patience is a virtue, my friend. Patience. Nobody's patient nowadays. Patient.
No, God, no. Instant gratification.
All right. Let's take a look at what happened in Class Double L. Let's set this up and roll it, Danny. Here we go. Things started off with Fairfield Prep clinching. Getting in. They're already clinched, but they defeated Xavier 49-15 to get in there. Big win for them, setting themselves up to possibly get the number 1 seed. 6 different players scored touchdowns. Robbie Manning ran for a TD and threw for 2 more. Then later on, the big one. On Thanksgiving morning, sophomore Ben Bolio scored 3 second-half touchdowns and accounted for 155 total yards, including a 40-yard screen pass to blow the game open as the Blue Knights won their 5th straight, 31-0 in a surprise game at Fontana Field. That knocked Cheshire back in Class L, and Southern was able to capture a home game in Class Double L. Meanwhile, down in Greenwich, it was a close game, 2019 at halftime against Staples, but your boy Pete Jack Kelly scored 3 short touchdowns.
Your boy.
And Hector Lopez ran for 100 yards on 19 carries as they pulled away 33-19. Then the big one, as I'm sitting in my car for 2 hours, 2 hours after, and this game had reverberations throughout the state, but we're all dying, Pete, to get that Crosby Kennedy score. Now, Crosby was 4-5, and Kennedy had only won 1 game all season, and I figure, what the heck? I mean, Crosby's got to win this game. I kind of calculated that way. I'm starting to actually do because I got to get to dinner. I'm starting to do my points and set up our brackets with Crosby being a winner. I'm just like, all right, if it changes, I'll flip it, but I don't think it's going to change. We waited until 2:00 to get that score, which is unforgivable. Guys,
it's unforgivable. But we got to give a shout out to @RayDalla860 on Twitter, who had it at 12:59 p.m. We just didn't see it. I didn't use the hashtag.
He didn't use the hashtag, and I was because then I'm getting I've got I have coaches on text me, what is the score of that game? And I needed to confirm it, even if he had to. I had to confirm it. I had to make sure I had several sources. So we finally got that score to get us in, and that had reverberations. That's one score, Kennedy defeating Crosby, which I wish we had some highlights. I would have shown it. But Kennedy knocking off Crosby 26-12, big win. That was a great win by Eagles. Really good one. They were in the playoffs last year, I remember. But that one score, that put Seymour in as the number 2 seed in Class S. That knocked Holy Cross from the 5 seed in Class M down to number 6, and sent Brookfield to Guilford rather than Holy Cross to Guilford. So it really kind of changed things dramatically as the
Isn't it
points were going up.
crazy though how a matchup between a 4-5 team and a 1-8 team on Thanksgiving has an effect on 4 different divisions?
That's the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. That's why it's so great. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of I'd rather teams play in and not using an archaic formula now, but with the way the schedules are set up, that's the beauty of the whole thing. That's always been the charm of it.
No,
Every game matters across the state, no matter how 2-0 in whatever team, it means something to somebody.
But how can they not put in their scores?
They had the trouble score wrong too. The trouble state joke. I don't know. Get it.
Oh, I know. I heard about that.
The last big result on that was that not in the double up, but the last big result that put New Britain up. Fairfield Prep got everything. It got every single bonus game. It got everything you could possibly wanted, and then it was a lot. I'm like, they're probably going to get all these, and sure enough, I'm like, they're going to be the number 1 seed. Well, then what happened at the end there? I think it was the Bristol Central game, right? Was that the game that put them over the top, or was it Kennedy? No, it's Kennedy Crosby. I'm sorry,
Kennedy Crosby. Yeah.
Kennedy Crosby, because New Britain, their alliance game. Remember, we're like, New Britain, what are they playing Kennedy for? You know, because they guess I don't know how, because Kennedy was in the playoffs. The Alliance guys, let's match 2 playoff teams together. Well, they wiped out Kennedy. I'm like, well, what did that do? Sure enough, that 1 win right there. I mean, listen, there's a lot that happened, and the fact that New Britain only played 9 games as opposed to 10 certainly played a factor in it. But that Kennedy game, the fact that they played Kennedy, they needed those points, and that was 15 points they needed that put them over the top, over Fairfield Prep into the number 1 seed. And here is the Class Double L bracket. Number 1, New Britain plays NFA, which beat New London to get in to close out this field. West Haven got knocked out despite Mir Danley rushing for 200 yards and beating North Haven 21-14. West Haven would have been in. What's that?
No.
West Haven would have been had NFA not close the deal there, but NFA gets in first time since 2019. Southington's win over Cheshire puts them in the number 4 seed. They face Glastonbury. You all remember that week 2 game, the crazy one, where they were up by a touchdown. Glastonbury had to go the length of the field in 30 seconds to score, and then in overtime, bad snap. Southington didn't get the touchdown, and then Glastonbury put it away. But now Glastonbury goes to Southington this time. Fairfield Prep plays Danbury, which got beat by Ridgefield on Thanksgiving Eve, 17-7. So they'll play the Hatters, who are in the playoffs for the first time since 2003. And then you have rematch Greenwich versus Staples, part 2. What will be different this time? Pete, your thought on the double L bracket?
The double L bracket is fascinating. And I say that because, and I don't even say it in a good way. You look at the top half of the bracket, CCC, ECC, CCC, CCC. And then the bottom half of the bracket, SEC, FCIAC, FCIAC. With an SEC school that's in Fairfield County. So you're getting one FCIAC team versus, no offense, NFA, probably a CCC school in the championship, which I don't think we've had in a while.
No.
I think the last time a CCC team went to the double L championship, I don't want to say it was Southington, but it might have been. Greenwich West Haven, Staples West Haven, Greenwich Prep, Darien Prep, Newtown Darien, Greenwich New Canaan, Darien Greenwich, Darien Ridgefield, Darien Shelton, New Canaan Darien, Southington Prep. So the last time a non-SEC or FCIAC team was in the double L championship was 2013, and we're going to get this year because the top of the bracket has 3 CCCs and an ECC.
Crazy.
That's wild. It's a bracket. They have their rankings. We have ours. Theirs is math. Ours is brains, or you would think it would be. The best teams are in the bottom half of this bracket.
Yes.
So,
I mean, are they in this bracket?
Prep beat New Britain.
Oh, the bottom half.
Greenwich beat, the bottom half of the bracket's better with Prep, Greenwich, and Staples. Okay. I would put Staples up against those 4 teams at the top of the bracket any day. Probably not New Britain, but I think the others, I think they would. Staples beat Glastonbury.
Oh, I know. That was week 1. Granted.
I know. I'm just
And
saying.
if Southern beats Glastonbury, it'll show you right there.
Yeah, but if Staples plays in the CCC, they probably win 7 games. Maybe 8.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's true. Put up the bracket again. Pete, we're going to go quickly through the picks here. Who do you like? Who do you like in the top bracket there? Let's just roll through it. Who do you like in each of these games?
I'm going to go with New Britain in the top game. I'm going to go with Southington. Like I said, there's no one playing better football right now in Double L than Southington. So New Britain and the Blue Knights are going to play in the semifinals. And in the other quarterfinals, Fairfield Prep and Greenwich are going to meet in the semifinals for probably the 5th year in a row, it feels like.
Hey, Pete, I'm with you. I'm gonna go the same. New Britain, Southern. I think Southern just playing. It's just a whole different team this time.
Yeah,
and they're going to be looking to get knock off Glastonbury. Glastonbury's been scrappy all year. That could go either way. But New Britain, I'd say, takes care of NFA. Prep easily over Danbury, and then it'll be a different game. It might be even closer game, maybe. I don't know. But Greenwich over Staples. Greenwich has got the better defense, and Jack Kelly's been playing great, Pete.
Jack Kelly he's
had a really second
half
of
his stats on both sides of the field don't blow you away because he is playing both ways, which is not a common thing that Greenwich does or some Double L schools do. But man, he is the most important player on that team. He is really what makes them go. Right. And he's a guy, if I ever do an all Madden team, an all Pugwaga team, which we've talked about for a couple of years, he might be my MVP. But I'm just putting that out there. We're not doing that team this year, but he would probably be my MVP because he just does everything for that team, and he really just makes them go.
All right, let's go to Class L. Let's roll that clip. We're going to start up at Blue and Gold Stadium. We're in Newtown. Nick Pavia ran for a pair of touchdowns from 8 and 56 yards out and had 2 sacks on defense as the Nighthawks eliminated the defending Class M champion Massac 34-13. At Blue and Gold, Marcus Grace threw a pair of TDs. The Nighthawks claimed the number 2 seed in Class L with the victory. Then over at up in Danbury, Ridgefield needed a win to qualify for the first time since 2019. The Tigers defense showed up, led by linebacker Mike Sambellini, who had Sambellini. Can't say this. Salambeni, excuse me. Mike Salambeni, who had 7 tackles, and Santino Barella's 3 sacks and an interception by Brady McGarry. So they played a great defensive battle. Chris Colsey actually had a touchdown catch, and Salambeni scored on a TD run. Sorry if I butchered your name, kid, but and then that was so that put Ridgefield in the Class L. Down in New Canaan, we're gonna have a little extended highlight package here, but down in New Canaan, Darien, the 2 teams that had played in the Class L championship the last 2 years. Darien's been having a really kind of a tough season, but hey, let's see what the Blue Wave can bring this time. Could they knock off New Canaan for the first time down in the Turkey Bowl? Excuse me, they hadn't done that since 2016. Remember that classic game? But a great crowd on hand. They didn't show up, Pete, until about 15 minutes before halftime. But Darien kind of came out firing in this one. They got to get down to the goal line with a nice quick pass here down to the 10, but on that, there's our guy, Andy Grant. But as Chase Lane prepared for the snap, it went a little too quickly for them. They get swarmed under, and the field goal goes wide right, and that was kind of basically it for Darien. Maddox Hoffman quickly threw it out to your boy, Ryan Brooks. Takes it 66 yards for the touchdown. No one touching him. And then, of course, Maddox Hoffman had a great day. Here he is throwing the pass over to Andrew Esposito, getting into position. But Darien's defense was tough. On the goal line, they get a fumble at the goal line by New Canaan. They recover it, and they're back in business. But it could not go anywhere. And when getting the ball back, Maddox Hoffman gets back to work. Down inside the 10. But our guy, man, look at him. The defensive lineman for Darien. This is awesome. They kicked the field goal, and they keep trying. It's 11-0. So we go back to Hoffman. Goes wide to the end zone, touchdown. it was kind of 18-0 by that point. And away we go. New Canaan's defense was absolutely tremendous as usual. And this is the play. At halftime, it was 18-0. And this is the play. Hoffman with the throwback pass into the end zone. I missed it, so I shot the scoreboard because I was out trying to calculate points in the locker room. But there's our guy Esposito knocking someone down on defense, pickoffs. New Canaan's defense did what it does all year long, and that's just making life miserable. Chase Lane tries to go for there, gets upended. But this is not a touchdown because you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed
to do that in high school.
But it was also offsetting penalties. So Maddox Hoffman down to Esposito, sets up the Esposito touchdown. It was off the races for New Canaan. I got a little screwed up there because I couldn't remember Ryan Gately's name. I never remembered his name, but he was freaking awesome in this game. I'm like, what is his name? I can't remember. Next thing I know, the highlights are going by me. But Ryan Gately was awesome for Darien, but the rest of the team, they had a rough go of it. Buchanan is just a total package. 10-0. They win their 8th straight Turkey Bowl, and they take the number 1 seed in Class L. So there you go.
Can we I just need to talk about Ryan Brooks for a second. Because you said our boy Ryan Brooks, and we were pumping him up all year. He finished the season with 105 sacks, 105 tackles, 4 sacks, and an interception. Okay. Do you know how many touchdown catches he has this year?
I want to say 5.
He has 5. Do you know how many catches he has this season?
He has 5 catches.
He has 5 catches. He has 5 catches for 160 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's got 2 touchdowns over 60 yards.
It's unbelievable.
That's what a great
It's like
stat.
the Esposito. They like Esposito. Like we need this guy on defense. They put Esposito on defense, right? Yeah. In this case, the guy on defense. They're like, we need someone on because Esposito. Remember, he got hurt. That's kind of like where you saw Ryan Brooks really get involved a lot more, at least from my angle. And they're like, we need another guy, another receiver on offense. Let's throw Ryan Brooks on offense. See how he does. Remember, he caught a short pass in the Greenwich game, but now he's catching I'm like, what are you doing? You're like Andrew Esposito reverse this year. So Espo's looking good. They're looking good. Sorry, they're looking great. I absolutely butchered those highlights though because I couldn't remember. I still can't all of a sudden. Ryan Gately's name. Ryan, I'm sorry. He was awesome for Darien. But afterwards, this was all New Canaan. And afterwards, we talked to Lou Marinelli about this team, 10-0. I mean, even the last few teams weren't 10-0, and it's pretty rare. But here we go.
I said to the official, I said, watch this play. This could be the stupidest play I've ever called. Next thing you know, he's in the end zone. So maybe not.
We've been practicing it all week, and actually we've been practicing it for like a month or 2, but finally decided to run it, and hasn't worked as well as it did in practice, but that one worked pretty well, and it just seeing the linemen in front of me, it was exciting.
There hasn't been too many teams in New Canaan history that says they've gone undefeated, during the regular season. So for this group to do it, it's special.
Yeah, late in the season, obviously there are a lot of injuries, but kids step up because our program is built that way where there's not a weak link, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So I think we got guys, DBs that subbed in, tackles, everything. So we were good.
You got receivers making plays, and the line did a great job. And we missed out on Henry Stein, but I'm sure he would have had a big game as well. So just the help of the support staff with all the players and also the coaches having confidence in me definitely helps. We don't know who we play yet, but whoever we play, we'll prepare, watch film, and see what happens. It's them, then we just played them, so we got film again, and we got some practice and stuff like that. So
I don't care as long as we're playing. I don't care who we play.
I just that Maddox Hoffman touchdown catch. Is someone taking stuff from the Giants? Because the Giants pulled that off 2 weeks ago.
Yes,
Jameis. So that
I for Dave Rudin actually asked Lou about that. I wish I'd put that up there. He goes, nah, it's something we'd put it, but it was the same. He goes, he goes, you guys ran it better than the Giants.
Hey, Jameis broke a tackle and scored a touchdown.
Yeah, true enough. But we were told by Scott Erickson, one of our writers, that Maddox Hoffman's step grandfather, one of the O'Connells of the big family in New Canaan, actually died the day of the game when he was going to the game. And Maddox did not learn about it until after the game. It's a terrible thing, and it's an absolute. I just found out today, and I don't really know all the details, but he's part of the huge family of football players and great athletes in New Canaan. Just our condolences go out to the whole family out there. So that must have been tough Thanksgiving for everybody involved. So really give us our deepest sympathies. But yeah, so we learned that today. I just literally before we put together the show. So best wishes to Maddox and the rest of the New Canaan family. Obviously, there's a big influence on that whole program. So, but anyway, so that was class. So they're gonna play Darien. I think I play Darien again. Which is kind of like, all right, well, this was a practice for the next game. Let's see how it's gonna go. But as I said before, Ryan Gately was awesome. He had a couple sacks. He broke up on that play you saw there. He breaks up they tried to double revert, like a little flip reverse, and he snuffed it right out. And Darien's defense hung in there as long as it could, but offensively, they've been really struggling this year to kind of get things going. But we'll see what happens this time. Back same bat time, same bat channel down at Dunning Field. So that was going on in Darien. The big game, in New Canaan, that big game was everyone was kind of waiting on as far to see if Darien would qualify at 6-4 was over at Stoddard Bowl. If Platt won this game, they were going to have a good shot to pass the Blue Wave on points. There's also Amity if Amity beat Shelton. Well, Amity didn't beat Shelton. And down at the Stoddard Bowl, well, Maloney kept beating Platt. They absolutely dominated. Eli Shawarda threw for 3 touchdowns, and the Spartans defense returned 2 pick sixes, won by Andre Dixon, the former West Haven player, to give Maloney an overwhelming 42-13 victory and their 6th straight Stoddard Bowl. But Maloney's win, coupled with the Amity loss, because Maloney didn't get enough points to get even close to Darien, and then Amity losing didn't do it any good, and that prevented them from catching Darien in that spot. Meanwhile, Ludlow needed a win to get in. Of course, Liam Bond, who's been great all year, absolutely showed up, and so did the defense. He's had a big day, scored 5 touchdowns from different positions on the field, and the Ludlow defense made it miserable for Ward. The team, Pete, we were kind of hoping to have a shot, but this year it was like Ludlow again, 35-2. And afterward, we talked to Liam Bond, who's like, last year was a big deal. Now it's kind of become an old hat.
It's amazing. We've worked so hard for it. I think we deserve it.
What's different the second time around? Is it harder? Is it?
The second time around, first time we worked so hard for it. Second time it was kind of an expectation. Yeah, it's going to be an expectation in later years.
Yeah, there you go. Going forward, you make the playoffs once, you're excited. You make it twice, you start to get used to it, right? If you prepare for Ludlow, so good for them to get in. My mom's alma mater. My mom spent all Thanksgiving, though, Pete, saying Ludlow is not her team because it's not the same colors, it's not the same mascot, not the Flying Tigers. She still beats that drum every single time. But anyway, here it is, the Class L playoffs, Pete. You got New Canaan Darien, the 1-8 over in the second game there. Hartford Co-op 4 seed against ATI, which is 8-2. I got their record butchered in the when I first put it up. Sorry, guys. 4-5 game. Then you have number 2 Newtown versus Ridgefield, kind of a rematch of that 2013 game where Newtown was at the top seed, and then Ridgefield just absolutely stunned them in the 8-1 game, which got everyone saying, Newtown got to get out of the SWC, play some real teams. And, then eventually they did, and they won the state championship. So, but Newtown, Ridgefield, very interesting. Yeah, Cheshire, down, they had a chance at number 2 if they beat Southington, but now they are in the 3-game versus Ludlow in a fascinating game at the McClary Complex in Cheshire on Wednesday. So, Pete, there you go in Class L. What do you think of this bracket?
Oh, this bracket again. I said this to you earlier on the phone. Like, you're looking at these brackets and you're like, these aren't even by any stretch of the imagination. Like, the bottom of the bracket's hard. Newtown's a good team. Ridgefield is a battle-tested team coming out of the FCIAC. Cheshire is a good team, battle-tested, big win over Daniel Hand. And Ludlow is a battle-tested team. They might not have won a lot of those, quote-unquote, battle-tested games. They lost to Greenwich. Who else did they lose to? But they beat Staples, which was huge for them. Their other losses to Wilton and St. Joe's. Like that 4 group at the bottom is really hard. I honestly think any of those 4 teams can come out of it. And then you look at the top and you're like, all right, like New Canaan. Like, you hate to say it. We saw them beat Darien, and they've had Darien's number even in the playoffs outside of 2021 when Darien beat them after losing to them on Thanksgiving. But that Darien team was number 1 all year. That was a really good Darien team. This Darien team is not that Darien team. And then whoever New Canaan gets in the second round is either a Pequot school. And again, you heard me last week rave about Hartford. I'm so happy that they're competitive and they're playing really well. But they played in the Pequot this year. This is a different level of football when you get to the state players and you're playing teams from the FCIAC or the SCC or ATI, who became the first tech program to win a playoff game when they beat another tech program. So, and again, it's nice that ATI is here and that's great, but like New Canaan is going to like waltz right into the finals for the 4th year in a row. Then you look at the bottom and you're like, you're going to have to fight out of that bottom of the bracket.
I think the Hartford Co-op is very good. I've not seen ATI. They're always a pretty solid program. I think Hartford Co-op's got some players, obviously. Who's it? Jaden Booth.
Jaden Booth. And they had my God, I saw it on Instagram. They had another player who was just up at Syracuse this weekekend.
Yeah, they got some dudes.
They got guys. And I'm sorry I'm forgetting your name, but you were just up at Syracuse, Hartford Co-op guy. Sorry, I just saw it today. I was going to send it to you, but I forgot.
They're in for a shock.
Yeah,
they're in for a shock when they play New Canaan. New Canaan is next level. They're an FCIAC team. It's an FCIAC team play. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they show. If it's them, and I think they advance. I hope they show up. I'd love to see it. They're not going to show up. I mean, they're going to
Jamil Seedy was at Syracuse for a visit.
Good.
Like, awesome. And that's awesome that, Hartford's getting kids and they're going and they're playing there. But it's just such a different level when you play in the Pequot all year. And then you're like, oh, go to Dunning. Now, again, they have to win. So let's not count ATI out. But even ATI going to Dunning is not going to be easy.
That'll be interesting. That game will be interesting. But New Canaan in the second round. Yeah. And they have a freshman quarterback. He's good. He's going to be a star for Hartford. But New Canaan defense, that's going to be tough. I think we both have New Canaan winning that game against Darien. And what do you have in the second game, Pete? You have Hartford over ATI?
I do. I have Hartford over ATI. I love this. Is a great season for them, and this is proving that co-ops work in the right situation, and this is the perfect situation. And I hope that other cities look at what Hartford has done and maybe consider doing that.
To allow it.
Yes. I just think that, I think this is great. So I'm going to go with Hartford Co-op in this game. Then I'm going to go with Newtown over Ridgefield. I just think Newtown is really good. I think we just kind of forgot about them after their 2 early season losses. And then down at the bottom, and I think I'm in the minority in this one, I'm going to go with Cheshire over Ludlow. I know Cheshire didn't look super great against I know they didn't look super great against Southington, but I think I just like their resume a lot better. I really do. Wins over Guilford, Hand, West Haven, Sheehan, as opposed to Ludlow's big win was obviously Staples. But other than that, Norwalk is the only team that Ludlow beat with a winning record this year.
I'm going to go everyone you said, except I am going to go with Ludlow on this one. I think you want to talk about battle-tested teams. They hung around in some of these games. They hung around against Greenwich, which is very good. They hung around against St. Joe, but they played well enough, right? They were stubborn, I guess is a good way to put it. St. Joe was going to win that game. It was obvious early, but they were banged up too in that Greenwich game and coming out of that other game. So again, Staples, they needed to win that game. So I'm going to go with Ludlow in this one. I think Liam Bond and then the quarterback Ryan Love. And their defense has been pretty good. I think it's going to be close, though. It could go either way. This is probably going to be one of the better games. I think a Hartford ATI game might be pretty good, but I think Newtown is going to pretty much do their thing. I mean, I can see Ridgefield showing up in that game, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, moving on to Class Double M. The big game started on Wednesday night. where Newington and Wethersfield needed to have they had a huge, the winner was going to be in the playoffs, and the loser was going to be in big trouble, especially when Newington. Well, Mason Hill, there he is, holding a deflected but winning 43-yard touchdown pass from Victor Rodriguez as time expired to give the Nor'easters a walk-off 13-7 victory over the Eagles. Josiah Sims ran 30 times for 267 yards. And a touchdown, which is incredible. Bunnell, meanwhile, got into the playoffs. Ricky Miller, your boy, rushed for a game-high 116 yards and 2 touchdowns on 18 carries as the Bulldogs beat Stratford 35-6. And the big one, Fitch beat Ledger to get in, but the big one was Plainfield stunning Griswold Wheeler, a team they never beat. They beat them 20-19. I guess they scored about, I don't know much about this game. I couldn't find anything on it. But this is the eventual winning touchdown. They scored here with about 5 minutes left to go up. I think it was 20. I think they might have missed the extra point, but they got up 20-12. I think Griswold Wheeler made it close late, tried to go for 2 at the end and didn't get it. That's what it looks like. I don't know. Couldn't find any information on that game. I should have called somebody, but I didn't realize nothing was going to be out there. But Fitch beating Ledger, they get in. Plainfield Quinnebog kind of screwed up. That was the other big result from Thanksgiving. That was a stunner, and that changed a lot of things for a lot of different people. But Plainfield Quinnebog, the new co-op. When I talk about co-ops, remember Quinnebog Valley is Tortola, Ellis Tech, and what's the Putnam, and then Plainfield, which had been its own thing for a while. So now they have like almost like the Northwest United version of the North. Now it's Northeast All-Star team minus Killingly. So they get in for the first time since I think 2013. Amazing. That was a big upset for Griswold Wheeler, which needed to win to get in. What happened though, by beating Griswold Wheeler, they simultaneously assured Ansonia getting in regardless. But then they allowed Bloomfield to get in because Griswold Wheeler probably would have got in over Bloomfield had they won that game. So that really kind of mucked things up in Class S, but it put Plainfield in and completed the Class Double M field. Wethersfield, they did not have things go their way on Thanksgiving. That win by Plainfield was the one that knocked them out. So Wethersfield can thank Plainfield winning that game. And then obviously, so think about that. Close loss there, and then the Newington close loss knocks Wethersfield out. So unfortunately, that's the way it goes in the CIAC playoffs. But here it is, Class Double M. You have Windsor. Now they got to play Windsor in the first round game. Remember, Windsor didn't play the first round last year because Northwest United forfeited that game on the eve of the game, which was, Holy Cross screaming about that one. That would have been Holy Cross's spot had Northwest United not taken that. But it was too late to put him in. So anyway, in the second game, it's a rematch. Newington versus Middletown. Middletown, if you remember, beat Newington 20-13 in double overtime at mid-season. I think it was around October 20th or so. Wilton, which hasn't played for a couple weeks, takes on Torrington, which is the number 7 seed at 7-3. And then Bunnell, Ricky Miller doing their thing. Bunnell gets a home game, which is big for them. They play host Fitch, which beat Ledyard to get in on Thanksgiving Day. So there it is, Pete, the Class Double M field. What do you think?
I think the top 3 seeds are where the top 3 seeds should be. I think this bracket is right in a way. I mean, maybe if I was ranking them, I'd have Wilton at 1 over Windsor. At least that's how I vote. But I 2 of those teams are going to have to play each other in the semifinals, if they get there. And I think whether it's Newington or Middletown, I think they'll put up a fight against Windsor. I don't know if they'll be able to knock off Windsor unless they, are on the phone. They're probably on the phone with the Southington coaches now asking like, hey, what did you guys do? Because AJ Robinson is on an absolute tear. He's 4 touchdown passes away from breaking Tanner Kingsley's all-time record of 113 touchdown passes.
It's crazy.
And he's like he's not far away from getting 8,000 passing yards, which he'd be the 5th quarterback in state history to do that. I mean, the touchdown record is absolutely incredible. If he's able to do that, was it 4? What did I say? I slacked you guys about it. I think he's 3 away from tying it. Yeah, he's 4 away from being the all-time passing touchdown record holder in state history.
It's that amazing.
Which is amazing. Yeah, he's 40 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yeah, he was injured a lot of last year. They didn't need him a lot really last year. He was called on to do a few things, but they pretty much did their damage on the ground. Excuse me. So, but this year they absolutely need him, and his receivers have been great. I mean, just the one blemish, so they're going to be tough going in there. But who do you like? We didn't do these picks here, did we? No.
No, we
Do you
haven't
like
done the pick. Well, obviously, I'm talking about Windsor. I'm going to go with Windsor over Plainfield. I'm going to go with Newington over Middletown. I think Newington is playing better right now, and I think Middletown is not. After their, what was it, a 6-0 start? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. They lost to South Windsor. They lost to Wethersfield. Then they beat Farmington, and they lost to, they lost to Berlin. So I'm going to go with Newington in this one. I think they are currently playing better football. That offense needs to figure it out, though.
Yeah.
Josiah Sims rushes for 260 yards and gets in the end zone once. Guys, we got to get him. We got to get him in the end zone. But Newington, since the loss, so they lost to Middletown, then they lost to they lost to Middletown, right? And then they what was it? They beat Farmington, they lost to Berlin, and then they're on a 4-game win streak, wins over E.O. Smith, Ram, Bristol Eastern, who Middletown struggled against, and they beat Wethersfield. But you got to get that offense going.
Oh my God.
You have to get that offense going because you can't hang around with Middletown. Middletown, when you hang around with them, they can come out of this game and win. But I'm going to go with Newington in this one. Then in the bottom of the bracket, I'm going to go with Wilton in this one and Bunnell in the bottom half of the bracket.
100% on Sims. I thought that was a typo. I mean, is it a typo?
Is it a typo?
67 yards, you only score once. I don't. Is he getting caught at the goal line? What's going on? He's a great player. He's a great player, and their defense is amazing, especially on defense. But it's just amazing to be we've been killing them all year. And I love you, Aquavita. But I'm like, you guys are scoring like 30 points a game. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But what are they doing? Dropping passes in the end zone? I mean,
according to his max preps, 30 carries, 267, 1 touchdown.
That's crazy.
Got 17 touchdowns this year and 1,300 yards rushing. He is an absolute stud.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to go Windsor, obviously. I thought Middletown against Berlin. Granted, Berlin's a little bit of a different team. They kind of have all things firing and cylinders. I'm going to go with Newington, though. Defensively, I like on their turf, their grass field. I think that's going to be an advantage for them. And then they got Wilton, especially if the grass is soaked from all the rain. They got Wilton and Torrington. I'm going to go Wilton, obviously. Torrington's schedule, which is the reason why 7-3, they're at 7 rather than up higher. Like Fitch is 6-4. Torrington's schedule is not the greatest. They're in that. Are they still in that lower division, the NVL? Yeah, which is kind of hurt their playoffs. They're pretty good though. I mean, they were in that game. We talked about the Windsor game. They were in that game, I guess, if I remember correctly. But maybe I don't know. We'll see about Torrington. Hopefully they show up and give Wilton a little bit of game. I don't know. We'll see. Bunnell, I like Bunnell. It's been a while since we really talked about them. They've been kind of like the rest of the SWC, the way it's been going. There's a few good teams. We kind of lost sight of them, but I like Bunnell to advance over Fitch, Pete. So let's move on to Class M. Let's get going. The way things kind of went there was Waterbury Career Academy needed to win to get in, and they got into position with a 40-0 victory over Wilby, which that meant they needed some things to happen on Thanksgiving in order for them to clinch a playoff spot. It was out of their hands. So also on Wednesday night was the big Guilford Hand matchup. Both teams were in the state playoffs, but would this be the first Guilford team? We already know the answer to it, but would this be the first Guilford team to beat Hand for the first time since 2006? The answer was a resounding no. But what happened up there? The balmy, foggy night at the Surf Club in Madison. Packed house. And wow, 17 season losing streak against neighboring Hand. Hand made its defensive presence known early. Aiden Rutolo and Alex Tafro had virtually nowhere to run despite good field position early. But then you have Hand's first offensive possession. Danny, where'd the music go? First offensive possession didn't start great either. It was a bad snap. They dropped it for about a 12-yard loss. Oh, no. All right, everyone's fired up for Guilford. Well, they had a flea flicker pass, wide open to Stone Leckie, Bobby Ray, 88-yard touchdown. It was going to be that. You're like, oh, boy. We're in big trouble now. And they were just getting started. Junior Wilson Walker flies in to block a punt, setting up Cole Prescott. Easy. 20 yards to start the second quarter. There it is. Cole Prescott. Touchdown Hand. And then, what's going on over there, Danny? I'm hearing different songs. And then Tafro trying to evade a sack from Camaranzo. Throws a duck that goes right to Paul Fumek, your boy, at the beginning of the show. The big takes it 28 yards the other way for their first career touchdown. Guilford was down 21-0 in the end. The pea soup fog really started settling in. The Grizzlies did get a nice kickoff return from Ben Manone. To where, I have no idea. But Hand holds, and Guilford settles for a field goal from Arias Vasil. By now, the fog got so ridiculous and comical, Pete, you couldn't see 20 yards in front of you. Look at this. Could not see 20 yards in front of you. And the Guilford had the ball with about 3 minutes remaining, but they were just content. Look at the Hand coaches are like, what is going on here? Guilford was like, with 3 minutes to go, they had the ball, and they're like, yeah, you know what? We're just going to run here. The Hand wasn't going to have it. So we went into halftime 21-3. You can I took a broad look at the whole field at halftime, and you can just see what a mess it was. But it did clear up in the second half, and when it did, Hand got right back to work. And, well, Prescott hauls in a 34-yard touchdown strike from Ray. Then James Portley took another pick six back to the house. And then Luca Boyce raced 75 yards for the capper score. And here that is right here. Whoop! Hand wins 41-30. It's 18th straight victory over Guilford. And now, Pete, you know what happens when you have the surf club and you win a big game like this. It's time to sing the alma mater. And if you want to know the words, here they are up on the screen after we shake some hands. I think I threw them in there, right? Everyone's saying goodbye. Yes. Yeah. Good game. Good game. Good game. And there it is. There's the alma mater. Let's sing along now as they celebrate the victory at the surf club. Hand wins. They secure the number 2 seed in Class SS, which is their lowest, Pete. Their lowest playoff division in school history, as far as I can tell. I'm pretty sure that is the case. I mean, the only before that was M. But after the game, we saw at the top of the show, Paul Flumek's talking about this, but we talked to him and Eric Becker about they heard all these things about Guilford, maybe from us, I don't know. But let's roll tape and see what they say about this victory.
How long you been playing football now?
Oh, this is my 4th year.
Okay. How many touchdowns have you had?
It's my first one.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I was telling my teammates on the sideline, after it, I don't really remember. I had tunnel vision. I remember I had gotten double teamed, so I shed the double team, and then I was wrapping around because the quarterback was, leaving the pocket.
Yeah.
And what they told me afterwards was that one of my teammates had a great play of getting to him and forced him to throw the ball away, and came my way, and I can't let that opportunity get wasted.
To be honest with you, I couldn't see it. It was shrouded in fog, and I'm told it's not on our camera either. So maybe one of you guys got a shot of it, but I didn't actually see it. I didn't see any celebration that earned a flag, and that we don't expect that from our kids. So whatever that is, we'll clean it up. The way that this feels for me is that we have to stay locked in for 48 minutes, and there's not a moment of complacency, and that's our mentality, and that's my mentality with our kids. So finishing games, wins championships, that's our aspiration.
We've been hearing all year going into this. We've been to a couple of their games. everyone's been saying that, this is the best O-line they've had in years. That, this is potentially, the best Guilford team there's ever been. So for us, that meant that, it was just out of the question that we were losing this game. We had no doubt in our mind. That was just more and more motivation. It just fed the fire. Our boys were pumped up. We were pumped up all year. We were ready for this game. It was circled on us for sure.
All right, quiz time. Did they have more than 75 yards? More or less?
I'm going to say less.
You're correct. 43, I think it was.
There you go. 43 pop quiz. 43 yards total offense, man. I'm sure the fog had a lot to do with it, but hand had much more to do with it. They were absolutely dominant, rolling into they had the one blip, the only double, an overtime loss to Cheshire. And, Killingly, meanwhile, taking care of business against Woodstock in the final Thanksgiving game between those two schools. Unfortunately, that's what we're hearing. No more Killingly Woodstock. I thought that could be a good one at Woodstock.
Is Ned a fan of Speed?
Speed
pop quiz. Yeah, pop quiz, hot shot.
Pop quiz. Oh, and I was like, what is Eric talking about? When he said the personal
flag.
Foul call. Yeah, and then when I watched the film again, I'm like, oh, because he spiked it.
Oh God. I mean, I get it, but come on.
But he's like, I didn't see that we had a personal foul, and I didn't even know they had a personal foul because I didn't see any flags. So it was so foggy. I'm like, what's he talking about? Because he spiked the ball because it was his first touchdown. Yeah. Anyway,
I was at a game last year, Hill House in the opener, and a kid scored. They were blowing out Platt Tech, and a kid scored, and he spun the football. So I asked Coach Gibbs after, and I was like, he's like, dude, it was his first touchdown. He didn't do anything. He didn't point at the kid.
So that Guilford dropped to the number 4 seed it's set up, and as the rest of the division fell, the one game we did not know anything about until I watched SportsCenter the next day was Brookfield beating up on Bethel 46-9. The big play, obviously, Tyler Buttendorf, who's old man, also played for Brookfield back in the day. Look at this run against Bethel. My goodness, 1, 2, 3, 4. Does a spin move, gets out of this tackle, gets out of that tackle, breaks tackles, and goes all the way to the end zone. It's the number 1 play on SportsCenter plays of the way. Oh my goodness gracious! So they get the number 5 seed. They got to go to Guilford now. Meanwhile, Holy Cross rolls past Wolcott 41-6. But that result, which one was it? The Kennedy result really kind of moved things up and down here. And instead of Holy Cross going to Guilford, now Holy Cross has got to go to what's the other team? Rockville. They get Rockville next. Rockville took care of business against our boy Aaron Latter and Ellington, and they get the number 3 seed. And Nate Kraft here for Holy Cross rushed for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns on 15 carries. Good to see Holy Cross, which missed out on last year's playoffs by points. And then Northwest United forfeited, and they're just like, could you have decided to do that a few days ago? We would have gladly taken your spot. Good to see Holy Cross back into this one, though. They win. Let's see the Class M bracket here. Here it is. Well, everyone's been calling it the St. Joe Invitational, and I know Berlin gristles at this, but I don't think there's any change in that most people are like, there's no way St. Joseph is anywhere near the rest of these schools. But they're the number 1 seed. Waterbury Career Academy does get in. I forget who the last team was that they needed to lose to get in.
Bristol. No, that was for St. Joe's. My mistake.
Well, St. Joe became the number 1 seed in this bracket because Bristol Central beat Bristol Eastern in overtime, denying Berlin, which is 10-0, by the way. They get the number 2 seed. St. Joe with 2 losses, getting the number 1 seed. But Waterbury Career Academy, I think they just need one thing to happen to get in, and I think it was, I can't remember it all of a sudden, but they get St. Joe. There's your prize, guys. Good luck. And then that other result, the Kennedy Crosby one sends Holy Cross to Rockville rather than to Guilford. I don't know if Guilford wanted Brookfield. I mean, Brookfield's still pretty good, and Hand beat them up too. So the battle of vanquished Hand opponents in that second team there, and then Berlin gets Platt Tech as the number 2 seed. And Platt Tech, congratulations to them. Caleb Brickhouse had a big day. They defeated O'Brien Tech 47-6 to become the first team in school history to reach the state playoffs. Now you got to face Berlin, which is absolutely just wants to prove everybody wrong about that they're fodder for St. Joe down the road. But Pete, what do you think about this class? I mean, what need I say more?
No, I mean this is still the St. Joe's in Invitational. It's just, again, you look at the sides of the bracket and you're like, all right, you're St. Joe's. You got Waterbury Career in the first round coming out of the NVL. Not a terrible opponent, a very winnable game. But then you get the winner of Guilford and Brookfield. And yeah, Guilford got beat up by Hand. And, but they're still a good team. They still have some pretty decent wins. Brookfield, like you said, is still a good team. Right. And then on the other side, Berlin gets Platt Tech, which they're probably going to win. It's nothing against Platt Tech, but Berlin's probably going to win. And then you get the winner of Rockville Holy Cross, an NVL school and a Pequot school. And Rockville beat Holy Cross in the playoffs a couple of years ago, not out of the realm of possibility. They beat them by 1. I think it was a missed extra point.
Yeah, 14-13. Yeah.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility, but like, I don't know. If you had to tell me what side of the bracket I'd rather be on, I'd rather be at the bottom side of the bracket. I'd rather be on the Berlin side than on the St. Joe's side, because that semifinal game is not going to be easy for St. Joe's. I still think St. Joe's gets to the finals, but I'm just saying is like, congratulations, you're the 1 seed. It's going to be a lot harder to get there than it is if you were the 2 seed.
Yeah.
Now, if you're St. Joe's and you're watching the film back at Thanksgiving, you're like, man, that Bristol Eastern blocked field goal should have been able to be returned for a touchdown, and we would be the number 2 seed going to play Platt Tech.
That's the last thing we needed. Just overall, it's the last thing we needed. It's not going to be any different, but it's just St. Joe, Platt Tech. I just don't.
Two choice schools?
We need guys. We need a co-op / tech division for a state championship.
We also need to stop crying about choice schools.
Now, none of them are very good except St. Joe.
But Killingly's a choice school.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Mm.
You can get in there.
Yes, and they do.
And a lot of schools
Everybody
can do
cheats.
that. I'm just saying it's the same rules.
Yeah.
The same rules apply.
St. Joe does not belong here, though. 100%.
No, they don't belong in M. And Killingly doesn't belong in double S.
Mm.
And none of the Holy Cross doesn't belong in M either.
Mm. Yeah. So let's move on to Class Double S, where we talked.
But we didn't pick our games.
Oh, we didn't. Oh, let's go back to Class M then. I take Pete. I'm going to go first. I'm going to take St. Joe. I'm going to take Brookfield over Guilford. I think we have not heard the last of Brookfield yet. They're setting up the rematch of last year's final in the semis. You got Berlin over Platt Tech, of course, and I'm going to go. Man, I'm going to go Holy Cross over Rockville. I think that's what I did in the picks. I'm going to setting up a Holy Cross Berlin semifinal there. Pete, what do you got?
I got St. Joe's, I got Brookfield, I got Berlin, and I'm going to go with Rockville. I'm going to go with my boys from Rockville in the bottom game. And Rockville played Berlin in the playoffs not that long ago either. Berlin won. But I like Rockville in this game against Holy Cross.
All right. Sounds good to me. Let's go to Class Double S, where we have just a few things going on here. But Rockville, we talked about them already. Smoked Ellington 42-7, which set Ellington up for another trip, Pete, to Killingly, where they got beat 75-14 last year. And that's exactly what they wanted to avoid. Meanwhile, your boy, Matthew Whitman, he counted for 4 TDs, and they beat Foreign on Thanksgiving to give them the 4 seed now?
Yep.
Yeah, Law. Yep, they're the 4 seed Law. In another game that was very interesting, New Fairfield survived. I don't want to say survived. I don't know much about that game. But New Fairfield defeated New Milford 28-21. New Milford only won 1 game all year. But they defeated Milford in the Candlewood Cup 28-21. A surprisingly close score. I mean, I don't know a ton about it, but that puts New Fairfield in. And then Waterford defeated East Lyme to qualify to get into basically there they are. They had a rough second half of the season, Pete, but Waterford beat East Lyme 14-10 to punch their playoff tickets in Class Double S. And nice crowd there at Waterford. Good to see the Lancers get back in. I mean, they were in there last year. They requalified. And let's take a look at the Double S bracket, Pete. And here it is. Killingly, the number 1 seed, plays Ellington again. I'm sorry, guys. The chain has left the station. Law versus Ledger is a pretty interesting game. Ledger runs the single wing. Did Law even play North Haven this year? Got a little practice doing that? I don't think so. But they play Ledger, which had a pretty good season up until they lost to Fitch. Hand plays Waterford. Guys, I don't know if you really wanted to get in, but there you are. 6-4. Lancer played at the Surf Club Wednesday night. And then finally, Nanawaga team we haven't talked too much about. A team that is actually, as an independent and not, is actually pretty good. They beat a few SWC teams. Remember, they beat Weston. They beat Weston? No, they beat Notre Dame Prep.
No, they beat Weston. They beat Notre Dame Prep.
Nope. They beat Weston. They beat Notre Dame Prep. They've had a pretty good year. They've done a pretty good job. New Fairfield, I mean, I'm a little worried about you guys. It's 7-3 going up to Woodbury. And that's not too far a drive, thankfully. But I'm a little worried about New Fairfield right now. But I don't know, Pete. What do you think? I mean, it's the Hand Killingly Invitational, this one.
It is. I'm intrigued by the potential semifinal matchup of Killingly and Law. Obviously, we saw Killingly and Law this year, and Killingly gave them the business. Let me pull up the score for that one so I could be correct. 49-21. I believe that was the most points scored. No, NFA put up 27 and Waterford put up 28 against Killingly. I'm not going to get into whether the varsity defense was in or whatever, just going off of what that is. But I really like Jonathan Law, and I think that they've gotten better. So I'm really intrigued by that potential semifinal matchup. And then on the other side, again, you got Hand against Waterford, and then Hand is getting the winner of Nonawag or New Fairfield. Like, in what world? And I say this with respect to Nonawag, because I think what they're doing and what Coach Scott Lynch did there this year is great.
Yeah.
In what world is Daniel Hand and Nonawag playing in football? And I know it's a size thing and an enrollment thing. And I think that is the biggest mistake. And I've said this before. I think enrollment being the end all be all is one of the dumbest things that is done in football. And I think it holds us back from actually making real change. I think Nonawag being 10-0 and independent first year as a co-op, like, this is great that they went 10-0, and they should be in a division where they have a chance to win. And I think that's the same thing for a lot of other schools. But I'm intrigued by the potential Killingly Law semifinal game. I think that'll be a really good one.
Yeah. Roll it back up, Danny. Here we go. Well, I mean, Pete pretty much made his picks for you right there, but I'll take.
I was gonna pick Ellington. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna go Killingly and Law to advance, Hand to advance, and I'm picking Nonawag to advance. I think people, because they were co-op, they formerly in the CTC, kind of sell them short a little bit, but I think it's actually a pretty good team. New Fairfield's been really just concerning good. If you look at Nonawag and New Fairfield, they played similar opponents, and Nonawag had better victories than New Fairfield.
Yes. They also Nonawag played a much easier schedule that had 5 CTC schools on it in Amistad. I'm going with Killingly. I'm going with Law. I'm going with Hand, and I'm going with New Fairfield.
Yep.
I'm going to take an SWC team over them, over Nonawag. Again, I think it's great, but I just think it's different levels. So I'm going to go with New Fairfield in this one.
Okay. They are Class LS. Let's go to Class S. The big one everyone wanted to talk about, Pete, was Woodland in Seymour for the NVL Championship. 2 undefeated teams battle.
The war in the woods.
The war in the woods. Ian Pringle ran for a pair of scores while his brother, Anthony Pringle, led the defense with 3 sacks and a pick. At the Hawks finished unbeaten for the first time since 2005. Incidentally, the last time the school won the state championship. Big win for them. They secured the number 1 seed. Meanwhile, over in Wallingford in the Carini Bowl, Sheehan left, no doubt. Josh Durant ran for 154 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead the Titans 42-0 over them. And then the other one, the big one, Antonia's streak was on the line. Oh, this is North Branford. Oh, we got North Branford beating Coggins. Finish in 9-1 season, 28-6. Completely forgot about that game. That secured the T-Birds, the number 4 seed. Cromwell also defeated Rocky Hill. Rocky Hill, nice season, 5-5. But here is the big one. Ansonia rallies to beat Naugatuck. We don't have any big highlights of the game, unfortunately, but we do have the final there. Christian Fogel scored a 27-yard touchdown run with 134 left. Just a wild game. The game I was supposed to go to had one of our guys not got sick, and I had to go to do the turkey ball in New Canaan. But I wish I had been there. Ansonia beat Naugatuck for the first time in 3 years, and obviously you heard it. Well, let's go right to him. Let's go to our boy Red Romanowski. Pretty emotional after this one.
It means everything. 2 years we lost to this team back to back. I couldn't take anymore. I wanted this one so bad. For the past month, I've been just dreaming of this night. This morning, I've been dreaming. I wanted this game so bad. Just not even for me, just for the community. Everything. This game meant a lot to me.
Not even necessarily, that Nog is beating us twice. It's every Thanksgiving. It's just the same thing. Like, that's the game you got to win. You got to come out of it. It makes or breaks your season with the momentum. And, our kids really wanted it. They really came. And when the moment they came out for warm-ups, they were excited about it. I could tell the energy was up. And they fought the dogfight back and forth. They score, they go up, we come in, we score and go for two, and we stop them at the end. Like, it's great football, man. I'm really proud of the way my kids played tonight.
And that's a woof for Coach Mahalko, man. He did not want to have his first season end without a playoff berth. That's 19 straight now, keeps the ship alive. Listen, it's a young team. We've been talking about Ansonia. Obviously Romanowski. Just our guy, they need to get into the playoffs, man. They don't suffer that kind of stuff with Ansonia. But for all those guys involved, they absolutely earned it this year, and Ansonia gets in, much to everybody's chagrin. The Plainfield win, the Valley Panthers win, or what do you want to call them, against Griswold, knocked them out and put Bloomfield in. Bloomfield, Ansonia, remember we were, this could be a Class S preview. Well, both teams that were in the state final last year, Ansonia's the defending champ, but Bloomfield's been to what, Pete? Better.
Six straight.
Now they're in the playoffs for the 7th straight time or whatever it is. But could Bloomfield somehow, Pete, knock off Woodland up top? That's the last team Woodland wanted to see. Just like Ansonia's the last team Seymour wanted to see. This bracket is the best by far. This is amazing. A lot of 9-1s, lots of good teams, lots of good small school programs. Sheehan's in there. They get in, even despite the SEC's best efforts to stick them with Fairfield Prep or whomever else they want to put.
And
West Haven next. What's that?
They had Cheshire.
Oh, they had Cheshire too in there. They gave Cheshire a good run too. I mean, they're a tough team. I don't think anybody wants to see Sheehan, least of all North Brantford. I mean, the top seeds in this division sweating. Northwest Catholic is up. It's very interesting, Pete.
I agree that this is probably the top bracket, and I think it's going to be the most entertaining. But I think some of it is because of name recognition. Ansonia, Bloomfield, 7-3, not great years by either of these teams. Ansonia's lost to 2 teams on this bracket, and I think name recognition holds a lot of weight with a lot of people. But Ansonia still lost to Seymour, and they still lost to Woodland. And Bloomfield lost to Ansonia, so I just think like the name recognition is holding a lot of weight, making this like this amazing.
Well, let's look at it from this angle. Yes, Ansonia lost to Seymour, but on the last second touchdown, right? Ansonia was within a score. Woodland pulled away in that game. Bloomfield and Ansonia was early in the season. Bloomfield has been much better since then. And the other thing is, like, Naugatuck gave Ansonia everything he got. Ansonia won that game. And Naugatuck gave Seymour everything he got. I don't have any faith. And Seymour gave Woodland everything he got. So Woodland didn't exactly. I'm talking to people that are like, I'm surprised Woodland didn't just roll through that game. So I don't know. I don't necessarily think that it's just, it's just Ansonia and whatever, they'll lose. No, I think that these teams are all very, very, very close, much closer than it might indicate through the regular season results. That's all I'm saying. I think Ansonia is still very dangerous, and Seymour could very much lose to them. In fact, I'll pick them over Seymour right now.
Yeah, but Ansonia could very easily, and Bloomfield could very easily both lose in the first round.
Yeah, they could both lose the game, but I don't think it's going to be like, who knows?
No,
who knows?
I don't think they're going to be blowouts by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm sure Seymour didn't want to see Ansonia again, but I think the name recognition of Ansonia Bloomfield lifts this bracket up.
And I think those two teams are not very far away than the rest of the teams. If that makes, I think Woodland's still the best team. And I think Sheehan's obviously very good.
Sheehan's the best team in this bracket.
I would agree with that. Actually, just based on their strength schedule and what they've been able to do against tougher teams, and they've played double LL schools all year in the SEC. So that makes it's like dropping the bats in the on deck circle, and then you go out and swing away. You're like, oh wow, this is a lot easier. But anyway, Pete. All right, so I mean, who do you got?
I got Woodland over Bloomfield. I got Sheehan over North Branford. I got Seymour over Ansonia. And I got Northwest Catholic over Cromwell Portland. I feel like we're not talking enough about Northwest Catholic. And Caden Davis is one of the best players in the state, not just in this bracket, one of the best players in the state. We got to see him. And I know it was early in the season, Sean, but we walked out of that place so impressed. He is big. He's not just a wide receiver who gets 1,000 targets and everyone's like, oh my God, his numbers are inflated. He is 6'2". He's like 185, 190. He's going to Wesleyan. I mean, he is just a monster. He's averaging 20 yards a catch, 20 receiving touchdowns this year. And actually, his stats are not updated because they don't have the East Catholic game in here. He's over 1,000 yards. He already had 20 touchdowns, 20 yards a game. I mean, he's just an absolute stud. I think he might be the best player in this bracket. So I'm going with Northwest Catholic in the game against Cromwell Portland.
Here's the thing about Northwest Catholic. They're some of their games just absolutely they're head scratchers. They beat up on East, which was like, all right, that's more like it. But there's been some games that Northwest Catholic play. You're like, what the heck was going on there? You guys, how do you guys not blow these teams out? Now, granted, they got a lot of the guys. They're going both, like all these teams, but there are a lot of guys going both ways. They don't have a ton of depth. I mean, probably less than most of these teams. But there's been some head scratches with Northwest. I expect them with such a great player to blow teams out, and they really haven't done that. Cromwell Portland, I think, should be pretty tough with them. That should be a tough game. I'm going to go with Cromwell Portland. I already said I'm going to take Ansonia over Seymour. I think they're on a roll. I mean, Seymour could. I've been the Seymour naysayer for a long time, and they always answer the bell. I mean, Naugatuck, they needed to pull that one out. Like the Cardiac Cats. But I don't know. I think Ansonia now motivated. I think they're going to want to beat Seymour. I think they know what they did wrong the first time. They should have won that game, maybe. But Seymour showed up, and that was that. And Seymour showed up against Woodland too. I gotta give them that much. It was a tough game till late. So I'm going to take Sheehan over North Branford. Great job getting here in North Branford, but now you got to play Sheehan. Yikes. And then Bloomfield Woodland, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people. But I am going to take Woodland, but nail biter. It's not going to be easy for Woodland in this one. It's not going to be anything. But I think Bloomfield is just one of those teams. Like, you know, you sleep. Next thing you know, that they're shocking you. And they have some pride to play for Bloomfield too. But you know, I think Joe Lano's a really good coach. I think they'll have it figured out and they'll win that game. But I think you're looking at Sheehan Woodland. Unfortunately, the game, you can take it down, Danny. The game that I think, what we think should be the state championship, Woodland Sheehan's going to be played at Beacon Falls. Get your tickets now.
Yeah.
That's a shame. All right. So there you go. I think that's it. We went through all the brackets, made our picks for this finals, semifinals. Any last words, Pete? We got our games. We got a day off. We got a game on Wednesday night. But, what do you think?
We'll have the staff picks up tomorrow morning, so you can see how the whole staff picked all the games. And yeah, it should be a fun one. Stay warm. Hopefully, we don't have to shovel because I don't.
We won't have to.
Yeah, but
no, got a snowblower, everybody.
I do, and it works too. Got it up and running. I got it up and running this morning. Had to winterize my tractor. It was great. But it's gonna be 12 days. It's a 12. This is a sprint now, and the best teams are gonna rise to the top. No matter what your record is, no matter what your seed is, the best teams are gonna rise to the top. There's 12 days left in this season. And by the time they play on Wednesday, it's going to be less. 3 games. It's going to be less. So it's going to be fun. We're going to be here for every step of the way. This is one of our favorite times of the year, if not our favorite times of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Andy's killing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you got this far, I'm sure you already have done it, but like, subscribe to us on YouTube and all that good stuff. You know, it helps, please. if you like our show, a lot of people out saying that we've met out and about saying, I mean, I saw one of the Sheehan assistant coaches out. I saw a former North Haven player out when I went out to lunch at Christopher Martin's down in New Haven. They're all working there. They're like, hey. Oh my God. I see the people. I mean, it's nice. I love the fact that everyone watches and we appreciate it. So thank you so much. As you can tell, I'm sick as a dog right now. So I could use this next day off. So anyway, for Pete Paguag, I'm Patrick Bully. This has been the Meat Grinder on Game Time CT.
Love you all.